What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Sunday Drive. I'm Cliff. We got Brandon in the house from Valvetronic, and today we're going to be doing carbon fiber upgrades, a full kit from SooQoo, H&R lowering springs. This will be in a following video, which we'll have linked down in the description. And if you want to see the full build progression on this G80, make sure to check out the Valvetronic video series on their channel, which we will also have linked down below. But Brandon, beautiful car. Let's talk about what's done to it so far.
Yep, so this is my dream car. It's a 2025 M3 competition. It looks frozen white, but it's actually Alpine white with the Steck PPF on it. So kind of the more cost conscious and protective frozen white, which I'm very, very happy with the way that it came out. It's got the Silverstone carbon buckets on the inside as well, so kind of a snow spec white on white. Love the looks of it. It fits my personality pretty well. I'm very excited for this build.
Yeah.
So far for upgrades that we did is the wheel spacers, because the fitment is a little lackluster from factory, so we had to get them spaced out appropriately before we put the springs on, so it doesn't look like a hovercraft of some sort.
Yeah.
Also, of course, have the Valvetronic exhaust on there, which is a necessary modification for these cars because from factory they do not sound that good. And then I also have the IRL skid plate underneath to protect that notorious oil cooler that tends to pick up rocks on the highway or wood on the highway and explode, and God forbid anything happens to your warranty. We don't want any of that.
Yep, we both know some people that's happened to for sure.
Yep. So we're doing the whole build series on Valvetronic. The idea is modifying your G80 properly, but keeping your manufacturer warranty. I bought a new car for the reason that I have that 4-year, 50,000-mile warranty. I want to make sure that's taken care of at the dealership, make sure everything goes smoothly. So that's what this whole build process is about. We have some Arcade Tunes front mount intakes, this carbon kit, the lowering springs, exhaust, and some other exterior modifications like our livery. That's going to be Marlboro themed and Valvetronic themed.
Can't wait to see it. It's going to be really cool.
It's going to look really cool. I'll show you some renders after this.
Awesome.
But yeah, it's going to be a really, really cool, like modest build. I'm not going for crazy power. I pretty much daily this car, so it's more of a comfort, but also stylish. So I did not spec it with any carbon bits from the factory in preparation for this kit. I knew I was going to do something a little bit crazier. I'm very excited with the aggression of this like race style kit and how it's going to look on this car.
Yeah, and you don't really see this kit in the US so much, so it's going to be really help you stand out, and excited to see how it looks all put together on the car.
Me too. It's going to look really, really cool.
So welcome back to the channel, guys. We are really excited to get this build continued for Brandon with his G80 here. So today, as we mentioned, we're going to be doing carbon fiber springs and making his car look a lot better. If you guys don't know, I know our YouTube channel is The Sunday Drive, but we do have a performance shop, TSD, abbreviation, The Sunday Drive, motorsports and wrap. So if you need any of these upgrades purchased or installed on your vehicle, we are a Valvetronic dealer, dealer for many other brands, and all we work on at the shop, even though a lot of our channel's American stuff, is Beamers. We got a single turbo G80 underway over there. We have this G80 behind us. We have a Femto G30 over there. We have multiple Beamers outside. So if you need a BMW shop, hit us up. We will take care of you. But let's get into what we're going to be installing today. So this is the full carbon fiber package from SooQoo. It's really unique. You don't see this in the US a lot. So it's really going to set your car apart if you go with it. The only pieces that we are missing from this kit are mirror caps and then the front aero ducts, which unfortunately didn't come in time, but they will be added on at a future point. So be sure to check out the Instagram for Valvetronic and our page to see what those ultimately look like. And as I did mention, Valvetronic is having a full build vlog on this car, so check that out if you want to see the full build process on this G80. And again, if you need any of these parts, please go down in the description. Go through our links. It really helps us out and helps us keep making videos like this for you guys. Without any further ado, let's get this car upgraded. First up, we're going to pull the wheels. Now, you don't need to do this for the carbon fiber, but after this video, we are going to be installing the H&R springs. So while the car's down on the ground, we like to be efficient, break all the lugs free by hand. And as you can see, this car is really in need of some lowering springs. So we're going to fix this monster truck status right here. But let's go ahead and break this free by hand. These are 17 millimeters. And I love it. They're breaking free nice and easy. That means this car was torqued properly. No over torquing on this. Something important when you're working on a BMW or any vehicle that uses lug bolts instead of lug nuts are these wheel hangers. These are the ones from Keys Motorsports, which we really like. They have a nice rounded end, so they thread in easily. You don't have to fight a square end that's not lining up properly with the hole, so it's always going to get your thread started properly. And a 1/4-inch ratchet goes right in the end. You don't have to worry about a weird Allen key or something else that's going to potentially strip out over time. So these are really nice. We'll have these down in the description. So let's get the wheel off here. And again, we always break these free on ground so that we aren't stripping out the lugs. All right, I'm gonna put my wheel hangers in there. And again, these just thread in super easily compared to a lot of the wheel hangers you might get. These aren't the cheapest ones, but they are definitely the nicest. Now you still want to keep some pressure on the wheel so that it doesn't rock backwards on these fronts because they have such a large caliper, because it can still make contact. So you're gonna want to pull straight off. There you go. And a nice added benefit of those wheel hangers, if you have a spacer installed, like Brandon does on his G80, it's gonna keep that from falling down as well and potentially getting damaged. So we're gonna pull that off so it's out of the way. Let's get the rest of these wheels pulled. Now, I already went ahead and started wiping this down, but before I finished, I actually want to show you guys. So a big problem with the new M cars is how dirty their brake pads are. So we actually just washed this car and there's still a lot of dust in here that you obviously can't get to with the wheels on. But we do install upgraded pads. You can go with either EBC or iSweep. We're dealers for both. And they have a 70 to 90% dust reduction, and they'll have better than OEM braking power. So it's really the best of both worlds, and you are able to keep your calipers nice and clean. We also obviously recommend ceramic coating these so that the brake dust just falls away. But we're gonna wipe these down. We always try to go a little bit of extra step here, make our final product very nice for the customer. To finish removing the front bumper to get our grills and everything installed, we need to loosen up the wheel well liners. It has a whole bunch of 10mm bolts right here that hold it in place. We don't need to fully remove it. Just get it loose enough that we get access to the bolts that go up from the bumper into the fender. And now we can pull that away, but for filming purposes, I am gonna go ahead and finish fully removing this just so we have better access, even though it's not necessary, but it is a half, and we'll just take it off real quick. Right, now we can just lift the wheel well liner out. Again, this isn't necessary, but it's just gonna make it cleaner for filming for you guys so you can see more of what's going on. Just gonna pry this out of here. Just watch your brake wear sensor and EDC lines as you're pulling it out. It's gonna clip behind the bumper here and fender. All right, there we go. There are two bolts that go from the bumper up into the fender. They're both 8mm. They are here and here, if I'm trying to blindly point. And then we're also gonna have some sensors that disconnect, but let's get those released. We have a couple electrical connections right here to disconnect. So a trick with these is using a pick tool, get it and pop out that tab, and then you can go from the front and lift up from the inside, although this one's a little trickier to get into this way. You can scoop these down, there we go. We got this electrical connection right here as well. This one you're gonna squeeze top and bottom at the same time. It's a pretty new car, so let's see if I can just squeeze it. There we go, came off nicely. All right, and that should be it. So we got the car up in the air. As we mentioned in the beginning of the video, an upgraded skid plate on your G80 platform or G8X platform is definitely required. You got your oil coil right here. If that goes, you can lose the engine. But we're gonna be loosening all these 10mm. But let me walk underneath and show the Valvetronic exhaust here real quick. Being the Valvetronic car, of course, we have the full titanium Valvetronic exhaust. Now this is the Gen 2, so it has a skinnier pipe here and here. They just came out with Gen 3, which has a much wider pipe on both sides, going back, much better flowing and better sound. So the full titanium exhaust all the way back. If you're interested in picking this up, be sure to shoot us a DM. We can help you get it purchased and installed. So let's get all these 10s along the front pulled off. Last step is to get the top of the bumper unfastened. So we're going to start with these 6 push pin clips. You're going to use a tool such as this to lift up on the middle part of the clip, pull that out, and then you can go underneath the bottom part. And pop that out like so. So it's a 2-piece clip. And I always pop the middle part back in partially so we don't lose the top. Now don't push it down all the way or you won't be able to get it to go back into the hole. Now we can remove this rubber seal and top valance here. Now we have 8 T30 fasteners along the top. You can go ahead and remove them all. The bumper should not slide off because it's kind of held in here a little bit here, but just keep a hand on it so nothing bad happens. For removing it, it's ideal to have 2 people. just so that you keep your fenders protected, but I'm going to show you how to do it by yourself safely. Now I'm going to keep this middle one in here just as a backup. So I'm going to have that in loose. And one trick when you go to put your bumper back on, there is some flexibility with the in and out. There's usually an indentation left from the old fastener, so you can use that to line up your new, or when you reinstall the bumper, to make sure that the fastener is lining up exactly and your bumper should align perfectly. So if you're doing this bumper removal by yourself, you're going to want to release one side with one of the screws still in the middle. So I'm going to go ahead and pull down right here. All right, and I have a microfiber ready, and I'm just going to jam that in there real quick. So as I'm pulling from the other side, it's not going to scratch anything on the fender. Now this car is PPF'd, so not as much of a concern, but still good practice. Down and out. There is an alignment pin that goes straight up and in, so you do need to pull down about a ½ inch or so to get that to fully release from the fender. All right, we got our microfibers ready. At this point, you want to make sure you have all of your electrical connections disconnected behind the bumper. Now I am going to grab a second person to pull this off just because it is better to do it that way. But if you're pulling it off by yourself, just make sure you have both your microfibers ready to go. And then you're going to get a hand grip in the middle, pull off one side, and then pull straight out. Just keep an eye out for any leftover electrical connections you may have missed. Oh, got them all. Oh, there's one electrical connection on the side we neglected to get here. Let me get that. I believe that's your temperature sensor right there. All right, so she is free. And we're gonna go over and put her face down on the stand. You wanna make sure you have a nice padded stand for working on this. Again, this bumper is PPF'd, so not as much of a concern, but still good practice. So now we just need to disassemble this and we can install our new center grille. As I mentioned, normally we do swap out these air ducts on the sides. Unfortunately, that was not in stock today, so we're just gonna be focusing on the middle part right here. I'm gonna need a couple pry tools and pick tools to get this done. First, we're gonna release this wire harness right here. So it's held to the OEM grill right there. Pops out nice and easy. We also have it held here and here. So I'm just going to get in behind that, spread that a little bit. This does have pretty aggressive teeth, so it can take a little bit to get it off. Just work it up, there we go. All right. Now we need to release the 3 electrical connections. I like to use a pick tool for this. For this center one, you have to squeeze on both sides to release. You can also kind of stick the pick tool under there a little bit to help you. As these cars age, this does get more challenging. These are your more traditional clips with your parking sensors right here. You have a gray tab, you pop backwards, and then I always like to just take a pick tool under the front, lift up that lock, work it off. Now you could leave these connected to the parking sensors since they have to be transferred, but I prefer to pull the harness off. There we go. And now for the parking sensor, there's a clip top and bottom that we need to release. So I'm gonna get one side released, and go to the other side. Might need to get a second pick tool so I can release both of these, but we'll see if I can get it to go up. There we go. All right, there's our first parking sensor removed. All right, number 2. Now we have tabs all around this center kidney grille that need to be released. There's a back portion that pushes in against, in this case, a white tab, but whatever your color paint is. And then the white tab clips onto the grille. So we're gonna push that back a little bit and then get a second tool right here and push that forward, like so. And then work that one out. You may need to try to get a couple of these started simultaneously so that they don't keep popping in on you. You can also just pry the white tab back, although that back black tab tends to fight you a little bit. So getting something in there to help release that. And once you get the first one started, the rest are usually a little bit easier. But you do have to get that first one started, which can be a little bit of a juggling act doing it by yourself. Okay, we got one released, 2 released, and now they should start coming a lot easier. You just want to be gentle, you don't want to break anything, especially If you're doing this on an older car, these do get brittle. Luckily the G80 platform is still pretty new, so these usually come apart pretty nicely, all things considered. So when I do this, I start from the bottom, work my way up to the top. So I got my last 2 clips here. All right, I'm just gonna sneak it out another from the harness. All right, and we're ready to get our new one installed. So here's the side-by-side, new versus old, and obviously we have the ACC sensor. So if you didn't have that, you'd have an extra slat on the bottom of the carbon grille. Now we can go ahead and also transfer over the emblem as well, although that is your personal preference. We like to install the sensor first so that we can flip it over, look at both sides, make sure that the gasket is not being crushed. Nice click, and now I flip it over. And as you can see, this is why we like to do it this way. You can see the gasket actually got caught in there. So we're gonna have to play around with that and get that to pop through. I'm gonna pop the other one in real quick before I do that. There we go. And that gasket got caught a little bit as well, so we're gonna get that popped out. So if this happens to you, just take your thumb and kind of roll the rubber out through, and it should pull through unless it's really stuck. Hopefully we can get this one. If not, we might have to pop it out and try again, but that's why we do this before it's installed, so you can easily just flip it back and forth in your hand and make sure you have it right before it goes on the car and you can't access it anymore. All right, so we got the gaskets pulled through and we are now ready to install the grille. So we're just gonna lift up on the harness, slide that underneath. Of course, being careful with these tabs that are sticking up from the bumper that you don't scratch the surface. So we'll go down nice and straight. And if you have a nice quality grille, like this one, everything's just gonna clip in just like that. It's a nice, solid click sound. That's what you wanna hear. And make sure you have a nice, again, cushion support that you're going down on top of to make sure that the bumper is protected. Now, some of the other brand grills that you guys may install will actually require screws and drilling, but a good quality one, like I said, everything's just gonna line up nicely and clip in perfectly for you. Oops. Definitely one of the nicer fitting grills that we've installed. Just, again, want to take your time with it. Don't force anything. Off camera, we did also unclip the harness from this point right here just to give us a little more slack. But now we're going to go ahead and plug everything back in. The parking sensors, you have the outside clip. These are pretty tight. Make sure it's in all the way, and then close the gray locking tab. Make sure it's not coming off. All right. SooQoo provides these nice mount points right here, so you're gonna take a zip tie right through. And these are just like the little extra steps that if you know, you know, otherwise you might be looking at it and like, what the heck is that? But there is a purpose, and it works actually quite well.
Something like that would happen with like still frame.
And there are metal clips on the top here that this will slide into. And again, having those microfibers there, make sure that nothing gets scratched as you're going on. Reconnect your electrical connections while everything's nice and loose so you have plenty of access. Now, if you're doing this by yourself, before you go to the side, you want to make sure you at least start one of these so that the bumper can't fall off while you're working. Now, I used a power tool to put these or remove these, but I would only recommend tightening these down by hand. It's very easy to over tighten and break the clips. And this is when you want to use that old outline to make sure that you're lining the bumper up in the right space and won't need to do any adjustments once it's fully down. And just so I can show you what I meant by the bolt outline, you can, maybe hard to pick up on camera, but there's a slight indent right here where the larger circular washer was digging in. So right now, this part of the bumper is too far forward, so same here. This should be back further. So we're going to want to, actually got to loosen this one slightly. So you don't want to tighten any of these until you have them all lined up. I think I might have tightened that one too much. All right, so the corner one I know is lined up well, but this right there is where we want to be. There is a lot of flex in these plastic bumpers and a lot of adjustability, so using those wear marks definitely saves some time. We can put our hood gasket back in place. Make sure that you're centered here in the middle with your holes. And then we're going to take those push pins that we removed earlier, pop that back in, again with the tab up. Once it's in, push the tab down and you're in business. And then once these are all in, just clip both sides back into this ridge right here on the headlight. That needs to be up. There we go. Okay. So as you just saw, you have to make sure that underneath of there is completely aligned. Sometimes the under tray will be caught on the bumper, so it won't want to go up fully. So now we're going to push that up in there. There are some alignment pins. Don't force it up with the screws. You always want to be able to push it up by hand and then finish it off by screwing. If you use the screw to pull it in and you're not lined up, you're going to crush those pins and it's never going to line up again. No. Okay. And always finish these off by hand. Make sure you're not over tightening it. And reinstall your lower fasteners. You may need to pull the bumper in a little bit, like I am. And again, I'm not going to tighten these up fully. I just want to get them all started and make sure everything aligns, and then I'll go back and snug them up by hand. These are going into plastic clips, which are very easy to strip out, so that's why I'm just getting it tight, not ratcheting it on there, and I'll finish it up. So off camera, our guy Reese went ahead and swapped this over. The only flaw I think I have against this entire kit is that this is a little bit undersized, so we kind of had to push the competition up into the M3, but you are able to swap that over and fit it on there with a little bit of finesse. So my excitement to finish up the car, I forgot that we are swapping these pieces out, so I need to remove this 10 right here, and then we're also gonna have to pop out 3 of these push pin tabs and 1 screw from the back. We got 3 push pin clips, a little bit of the larger variety right here. So again, pull the middle out, and then the bottom should come out with it once there's enough pressure released. And then we have a bolt access on the back side. Now this actually is easier to remove and install this with the bumper off. However, we want to show you guys doing it with the bumper on, since most people are not going to want to pull their bumper to just do the front lip, and it is doable with the bumper still in the car. Now the reason why this is easier to do off the car is because we have a bolt that we need to access right underneath of this active arrow right here. So this has to push and we got to pull, and you can see just the head of that bolt right there. So we're going to get a really thin 1/4 inch 8 mil and get that removed. Now to release this, you're going to want to get your fingers underneath. Again, you need 110 mil from the bottom and 3 clips removed, so make sure those are all out. You're going to want to pull outward and forward at the same time. There's a lot of little clips in here, so there we go. So 1, 2, 3 clips up top that you're releasing, boom, boom, boom. And then that's right where that last screw was, and then the 4 fasteners that were on the bottom that we removed earlier. You need to transfer over this plastic clip from the OEM, right like so. These came pre-installed with tape, so we're gonna go ahead and take a pick tool and just pop the top off of this tape. Just the backing paper here, which is sometimes easier said than done, especially with gloves on. And now we just put it back in. Now you will notice a difference. The OEM one had clips here, but because this one actually mounts up a little bit higher, it does not have clips, so it is necessary to have the 3M tape on there. So you're going to want to make sure you wipe down with some alcohol right here to make sure that you have good adhesion. Now there is PPF on this. PPF is naturally hydrophobic. If you have ceramic or something on here, you're really going to want to buff that with the alcohol. It only does so much with PPF. Just keep that in mind, and always, always keep alcohol away from your headlights. It will crack them. Good. And one other trick you can do is only have the tape partially released, so maybe have like an inch here and an inch on this end, and once you have it where you like it, you can just pull the tape out, and you want to have it started from both ends. In case it breaks, you can pull from the other end. Now I'm reinstalling these 2 push pins. They do not hold in this part of the front lip. They're just going to go right into the bumper now directly. All right, and now we just need to put the 2 10mm screws down here and the one back up top. This is one of our first times installing the SooQoo carbon kits, and I have to say fitment with them is always spot on. But something that's a little bit different with this particular front lip that the other ones don't have is normally we put our 2 side pieces on, keep them on somewhat loose as we did, and then we can just slide this right in from the front. This one has a nice feature, but it does make it a little bit annoying to install. There's actually a lip that goes down and under and is going to tuck under the middle part of the front splitter. So because of that, we actually had to partially remove one of these so that we could get this up and over that little lip to have the nice fitment. So we have some of the backing paper pulled off, so once it's up there, we can pull it the rest of the way without having it stuck on too much. Reese, you want to help me line this up on the other side, please? So we're going to go up and over the lip right there. And then if you want to hold that end up for me, Reese. All right, and we got to go, this is that lip right there that I'm talking about, so we got to be able to pull that down. All right, beautiful. That fitment is absolutely gorgeous. And now I'm going to use that little pigtail that I started with the backing paper and pull that off the rest of the way. And this does use all the OEM fasteners. So you do need to have all those 10 mils removed from there. All right, so we're just gonna gently push this up. We don't want it to be completely secured yet in case we need to adjust anything. But I'm gonna make sure all the fasteners start, and then we will give this a nice upward press so that that tape can completely adhere to the bumper. There are 2 holes that connect the outer corners to the centerpiece, so we're gonna use these OEM style rivets with this little rivet gun. We'll have this link down in the description. Push that through, squeeze. There we go. And we're gonna put 1 more on this side and then 2 on the other side. Next, we're going to do the side skirts. These have single use plastic rivets, just like the ones we used on the front lip to secure the center and side. So we like to take a punch just like this. You're gonna line it up right on the middle and give it a good thwack. There we go. So you're gonna pop it right through. Now, some of them might be a little harder because right now we have the lift arm right here, so I'll get creative with that one in a minute, but we'll go down and get the rest.
Can't sit still.
Once you got the center punched out, you just pry this out just like the rest of the plastic clips. With all those clips released, we are ready to pull off the side skirt. Now we are only replacing the black portion of the side skirt. So Leo is gonna be putting pressure on the white part since that tends to wanna pull out at the same time as the side skirt. And it's just held in by a whole bunch of clips. There we go. Just want to pull straight out. I'm also applying some inward force with my fist as I'm pulling out. All right, and then go ahead and clip it in. Make sure all the sides engage fully. And then we're going to put new push pins in the bottom or plastic rivets, same as we used up front. And we'll have the part numbers to these rivets and links to purchase down in the description, along with all the other parts. And anytime you go through our links, it does really help us out. Helps keep bringing content like this to you. And we also can sell you guys some SooQoo carbon if you want to upgrade your ride. Now we may not have the SooQoo stuff linked in the description directly, but we will have our contact information, so reach out to us and we'll be happy to shoot you over an invoice and get that shipped out or have you come to us for install. Now we're ready to start working on the rear diffuser. So we have a whole bunch of the reusable push pins at the bottom, so we're gonna go ahead and get those popped out. On this side, we also have 2 right here in the middle. We're gonna pull the corners off first. These clips really do like to fight you, so keep that in mind. If your car doesn't have PPF, I would recommend running a strip of tape right here along the edges just to protect it. But with the PPF, tape's not going to stick super well anyway, and the PPF's going to protect it far better. So something to keep in mind. So we're going to start right here. I'm going to give it a very firm tug outward. These are very strong clips on this. Make sure your bottom ones are released. There we go. These clips really like to grab. They don't always come out cleanly, so just keep that in mind. Okay. All right. So there we go. Now we're ready to pop out the center one. Now the rear diffuser is actually 2 pieces, and the nice thing with the SooQoo kit is it replaces both of those pieces with one. So we're gonna first pull out the center part of the diffuser right here, and then this outside edge is a separate piece. Some kits sell this separately and keep this as a 2-piece system. This one is a 1-piece system. So I was reaching behind and pushing the tab in with my thumb to help get it released, because these are also very large clips on this part of the exhaust. If you do have tips here, I'm actually going to get a microfiber and lay it on top to make sure we're not scratching these as this gets pulled off. I'm going to pop the center part out here so we don't mess that up. The toe hook actually has part of the diffuser on it right there. Now we need to pull off the upper trim of the diffuser. And I'm going to reach around behind and get that first one started by just pushing the tab in. All right, so once again, we got our tips covered. Make sure those don't get scratched while the new diffuser is going on. It'll make sure you're centered. Get them all lined up before I completely clip it in. All right, now we got the corner pieces to put on and our little tow hook cover. And don't clip in one clip until you have them all lined up, because then that can end up fighting you. I wish all carbon fit this nicely. That is gorgeous. We're gonna go ahead and reinstall all of our push pins at the bottom. So just keep the center part popped out, push in the bottom part, and then send it home with the center. All right, gonna push down right there. We also have 2 clips on this side. So just gonna release them simultaneously. All right, here's the carbon fiber part of the tow hook cover. So we're gonna pop that in place. Only can go in one way. And there you go, we got that popped in. So you do wanna insert the top part first and then swing it in from the bottom. This is very difficult to clip into there. It will take a lot of force. Just take your time with it. Be careful so you don't break the tabs on the tow hook cover. And that is your diffuser all installed. And I have to say, looking absolutely fantastic. Finish it up with a little bit of ceramic coat and you'll be good to go. So there you go, guys. That is how you install the front lip, grille, side skirts, and diffuser from SooQoo on the G8X platform. I have to say, fitment was spot on, quality fantastic. All of the tabs had a nice firm click into all of the slots. Everything went together absolutely fantastic, and I think this really sets this car apart nicely. You do not see this style kit in the US very often, so if you want to be unique, this is the kit to go with. As always, parts are down in the description. If you are interested in buying a kit, this SooQoo kit or any SooQoo products, be sure to shoot us an email. We'll have our contact information as well as our phone number down in the description. And if you're near South Jersey and want to have us install it, we can take care of you too. In part 2 of this series, we're going to be installing the lowering springs. And as I mentioned, the full transformation of this car is going to be on the Valvetronic YouTube page. So be sure to go check that out. If you want to pick up a Valvetronic exhaust, we can help you with that as well. See you guys in the next video.